Dappled sunlight like this can be tricky because the light is broken into so many tiny shapes. Usually as we paint, we have to decide what to leave white, but today I'm going to be taking that pressure away. I am protecting those little pieces of sunlight first with masking fluid, so later I can paint the blue shadows as one smoother wash. So that's the experiment for today. We are saving the white and we're gonna allow the blue shadows to do the work. Let's get started. I am only masking the tiny broken light shapes that will be hard to paint around later. Where the shapes are larger, I can still paint around them with the brush. This is not because masking fluid is faster at the beginning. It is because it lets me paint the shadows more freely later, so this is a nice way to do it. As for the main colors, we will be using Cobalt Blue Violet and New Gamboge, both by Daniel Smith, Perylene Green by Michael Harding, and Bertie Deer Blue by Holbein. Now that our masking has dried, it's time to mix the colors so that we can put the shadows. That's why we did that work. This is going to be the first pass, and then we will we will darken as we need to. So now that I have everything protected, I can freely go ahead and start applying my colors. Paint over the masking fluid, and I have windows and I have a tree here, but this tree is in shadow, so it's not going to be having bright greens, so it's okay if I go with this color over. Now, if you prefer, you could go and leave a few areas unpainted, but honestly, I don't feel like that's necessary. However, you painting your choices, okay? Actually, I don't want that over there because I left this to put like a window box with flowers. So that I'm gonna leave for the moment being unpainted. And then I can go ahead and put the color around it. We will do the window and a little bit, and pretty much I can cover all of this because my white, but the white has been protected. However, there is one area where I had to be careful, and it's this. This is such a big area that I did not feel like I needed to be masked. We can just paint around it. If you don't have the Holbein color, then you don't need to rush and buy it. Cobalt Blue will be a very nice alternative. The paint along pack for this tutorial is inside Open Studio on Patreon with the 2 size tracing templates, the screen-only reference image, and the colors I use. Plus, the short bonus studio notes and mini lessons that go out every week. In bright sunny days like the ones that we are painting, usually when you get hard shadows like that, it means that the sun is strong. So this part over here is going to be lighter, but I need it to be with a little bit of color. Therefore, I'm diluting, I don't know if you can see, I'm diluting the leftover of the colors that I've been applying so far. And we're going to put kind of like an underpainting or wash, however you want to call it. In this part, some of the tree branches will come, but because I'm going very light, I feel it's okay if I put it all over. We're gonna let this dry and then naturally, and then we're gonna come and continue. And we can start mixing our colors for the tree. This is a new color actually that I have. It's called, I just got this Perylene Green by Michael Harding. It's a very lovely color. However, I find that it's slightly too dark. So for this tree, I'm also gonna add to it some Viridian. For our yellow, it's gonna be the Indian yellow or New Gamboge, however you want to color is the same color. Okay. So now it has dried. This is where you're going to have to trust the process a little bit. That is going to look good because, trust me, it will. I started with the darker color. This part over here on the tree is the thickest, so we can go ahead and start dropping some. I'm not necessarily making anything in particular, just like the impressions of leaves, and then I go with one that only has water, and we can just tap. I am apologizing for this light. It's gonna be, it gets sunny and then it gets cloudy, and then it kind of fools my camera, so bear with me. I'm dropping some of the darker color. Then I come with the yellow. And then just with the tip of a brush that only has water, I tap. I want to have a few holes from the wall because trees are not solid. They are made of leaves, and those leaves, yeah, have holes. I mean, you will have some of the light coming through. All right, so let me see how far into the window it comes. It comes a little bit farther. I wanted to kind of diffuse because we're going to put the shadow of the window. Okay, tap. Maybe just the pearline green here, a little bit darker by itself without the mixing of the viridian. Okay, the technique for this is drop colors, dappling, almost as if they are leaves. Okay, this is still wet, so I'm coming only with the pearline green. Like I mentioned, this part is the one that I want more darker. Then I want variation. I mix with the viridian and the pearline, and then I do the same thing. Tap. And then you can do one or two things. And this part, go just with water, and others we will go with yellow. Because this is going to be a repetition, I'm going to fast forward so you can see it, but you know what colors I'm using and why I'm doing it like this. We have applied one of the darkest color, the one in the tree. We will have a couple darker here in the window, but that's as dark as it's going to be. I feel like my shadows have become too light, and that's okay, it happens. So now I'm mixing my colors once again. So, now this is the perfect time to go ahead and apply the second layer, since we still have all our masked fluid on it, so it will work perfectly fine. I'm going to start from this end to the end. And yes, here I will have to be a little bit careful with the blues. Yeah, the only thing that you're gonna have to be careful here is around when you get closer to the greens. You don't want to put greens and bring it down. That's the only part. So, repainting, unfortunately, has to go to an ugly stage, but trust the process. As I mentioned before, this is gonna get better. However, while all this dries, I can go ahead and come with the same colors, maybe a little bit more diluted, and we can go ahead and start applying the underpainting of the steps so they can start making sense. We are painting a step, so we're leaving one dark, one light, dark, and this one will have a shadow, but it still be in the lighter size. To make this turn, so we're gonna start coming with a little bit of darker colors. To these two colors, I'm gonna bring some indigo, maybe a little bit more of the cobalt blue violet, a little bit more of the prettier blue. Mix all of this. Once again, I'm doing an underpainting. Nothing, I'm not going full strength yet. Obviously, these colors we're gonna adjust once once I have all the underpainting. French ultramarine and cobalt blue violet. I'm gonna make this a little bit more on the blue side, and we're gonna put the shadow that is here. This is slightly darker. So this is gonna start coming, say, around here. We will do something with our tree trunk in a second. The shadows are gonna come till around here. This part over there is still is ground and it's gonna be light. However, this one, because I also have masking, I can also go ahead and drop it freely. This painting we don't have a whole lot of different colors, so a lot of them are the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and start trying to make this this tree trunk a little bit more round. So same colors. This is also the underpainting of the tree trunk. We will come and put some darks in a minute. Let's allow some of that light to come through. Okay, so same colors, but with a little bit more of the French ultramarine. I also have some indigo ready. We had to do one more thing before removing all this masking, and it is to put the shadows on the windows. Some of the light is safe, so we need to paint it right now. We're gonna start with the mix that has the French ultramarine, more of the French ultramarine, however, they still has the other two. Be a little careful here. Make sure that you stay within the lines so that your windows don't look crooked or odd. So for here, I paint a little bit around the leaves. And now, while it's wet, let me bring some of that indigo color and let's just drop a little here in the inside. All right, we do it on the first one. Let's just do it on the second one as well. Wait a little, the one with more of the French ultramarine, then we blend it before we bring the indigo, and we will see if we need to make to help it or if it's enough wetness. Just come with a little bit of the French ultramarine instead of coming with only water. Put a little here too, and then we go with water. We're going to be putting our darkest colors first, and then once we have those established, we can see how dark or light we should go in the rest of the window. When doing windows, it's always good, regardless if they are light or if they are dark, like in this case, to wait a little and have one area that it will be dark, but it will look slightly less. So let's just bring the darker colors and you will see what I mean in a second. So I come with the darker color like around here, bring it down, but I'm gonna leave this. I can start darkening a little bit around some of these areas while we allow that to dry. The things that are not touching there, and I'm coming with the same colors that we were having for this, slightly darker. So I can come back and put a little bit of dark in it here since this has dried enough. Maybe I can go ahead and start going a little on the outside of this window, thin, and then bleed. Let's just take care of this window box. So I'm coming here with a mix of red and permanent rose, and we're gonna put kind of like a few flowers. So what are these flowers? Well, basically nothing, just little dots. Then I come with water and I tap next to it. So back to the colors from the tree, and let's just put a few greenery here on the window box. This part over here is pretty dark, so we're coming with the dark greens, but I allow a little of breathing room, meaning I'm not painting it solid. I can come with a little bit of the yellow and drop here and there. And back to our greens. And then some are falling out or creeping out. This is too much white, so let's just fill it up with greenery. And let's just put a couple here too. And this is a little bit of yellow ochre with a little bit of the greens from there, and we're gonna put it in this part. Let's just bring it, and then some of the blues. And then to this, so we can finish this window and get rid of all this masking fluid. To that yellow ochre, I'm adding a little bit of brown sienna, and we're gonna put a line that goes over here. I got masking fluid here that I'm gonna have to remove pretty soon. Since I have that kind of the only yellow ochre color in my brush, let's just put some over here before we remove the masking, and then we'll be ready to do that in the next step. So very light, and then we go from more to less. As the sun hits more, then these colors will be more washed out. Right now the painting still looks a little strange because the sunlight still is under the masking. So let's remove it and see if saving the light paid off. All right, let's do this. All right, this is looking really, really good, but now we need to put a lot of little details that is gonna make the painting even pop out more. So the darker colors that I was having over there, let's just put a couple. This is the part that is washed out, but it will not be completely washed out. So we need to put a couple darks here and there that is gonna make sense, as if there is some structure on the wall. So there is a lot of darks here. I want to put them first so that we know how dark or not to go later. To these colors and plus the indigo, I'm going to bring some of my perylene green. And now I have a dark enough mix. And we're going to start putting the branches that they are coming out of this tree. So let's just put one over here. Gonna come down. And then more of the indigo as it goes around here. Got that. Let's do another even smaller one. And I'm just going to pick some of that color and bring it out. Let's just make this, we'll probably put these other things in shadow. So let's just darken underneath this one as well. And actually, let me get some of these colors and drop a little of that dark into the tree trunk, so giving roughness and a structure to our tree trunk. As I get down, I'm gonna make it a little, maybe a little bit darker, rounder, and bigger. Just get a big one here. With these very light colors, very, very light, we're gonna put this side of the tree trunk. It doesn't have to be too strong, but we need to define where it starts and where it finishes. Just with burnt sienna and French ultramarine, let's make ourselves a dark gray, a little bit more on the blue side, so extra blue. And let's just put these dark, very dark colors from right here. Just drop a little bit of the yellow ochre that we were having before instead of just water. Come with that. Rinse back to this, drop them here, especially at the bottom. All of this is going to be, doesn't have to be only with the steps come, it's going to come into the tree trunk too. Yellow ochre with water, darker colors, gonna go from more to less. And then some of the yellow ochre so that these two meet. Back to the cobalt blue, violet, and a little extra French ultramarine. We're going to put a couple of this structure here. Let's just put another one here. And here. And now lightly and water. Some over here as well, and a little bit will go up. That should be plenty to give the impression of a brick or whatever this is. This last step, we'll have to get a little of the yellow ochre, by the way. So let's just drop some, then go back to our purples, our violets, top, especially at the bottom. This bottom cannot be so bright. And then we'll blend them. And as some shadows coming out over here. So again, mark a little. And these are the darker colors, the variations of the same colors, a little bit more indigo, a little bit more violet, but it's all the same family. And sometimes when I come over here, I can also go with water and light it up like that. This is my indigo, more indigo. Okay. White. Okay, let's go back to our greens and put a few, so that this makes sense, put a few little leaves, like these little branches coming from there. Maybe that's too dark, so let's get more of the, I'm using right now yellow ochre. That's okay. If you want to keep using the new gamboge, that's fine too. Okay. And then let's get more of the viridian and drop a little while it's wet. So we got one over there. Maybe a few other are growing closer to the tree trunk. These little details are gonna put finishing touches. Just a couple here and there. More yellow. This also makes sense that this will also cast extra shadows at the bottom. Maybe this needs to get, especially when it gets closer to the tree trunk, let's get a little more of the purulin green, a few of those. Right, so I'm just gonna do a couple nuances of the color here the traditional way, which is coming with the cobalt blue violet. I'm gonna come and darken a little bit in a couple areas. Then top with water. Just put a few connecting lines, say for example, like if it is branches of the tree. All right, let's just go with my scrubbing, well, not scrubbing, my silver Bristol brush and soften a little bit. I'm not trying to get rid of the white. I want the white, but for variation, I want in some areas, especially here at the bottom, maybe to get a little bit more soft. So go, nice. And I like the sharp ones. Actually, I think the one here, maybe one here, and that's it. This part of the wall is darker, and I feel like some of these, I was feeling like some of these leaves were slightly too light, too similar to this part. However, it needs to be a little bit of contrast between here and there. I'll come with a little bit of French ultramarine here. And I think I'm gonna call it quits. I think this painting is done. And here it is, the finishing painting. I'm very happy with it. And this is also to prove that masking fluid is not only to be used for tiny details, it can be used in many different ways. Patreon will be linked below. I hope you learned something with me. I thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.